And then do you remember like your relationship with the financial part of running the practice? And, was there any aha moments that you had? Because I know a lot of people do have aha moments when you're trying to run a practice and dealing with the money aspect too, because it's not an easy thing. Like what was that?
It's not an easy thing. And again, I think I was, I had talked to a few colleagues of mine who had their own practices, and they really kind of encouraged me to have 100% ownership and to really have full control of your practice. But I didn't feel like I had the knowledge or experience to be able to do something like that from a business standpoint. So I had two partners. One was a chiropractor that I had mentioned, and another was this friend who had an MBA, and he worked in the insurance world. And so the three of us kind of sat down and we started, looking at our financial goals and our targets. And Brian, who's our MBA guy, who is acts as kind of our de facto CFO, he's very conservative, and he wanted to make sure that we weren't spending more than we were generating revenue. So we had kind of this plan that we had developed over these 18 months to kind of bring things on slowly and grow. Fortunately, I'd had enough of a reputation that we had about 150 people on our wait list before we opened the doors. So we had kind of the demand for what we were doing, which was awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But, within 6 months, we were in the black. We had a relatively small loan, I would consider, for starting a fairly large practice. We had a $250,000 loan. And, we just started working on paying up. But we were so busy after 6 months, we had to hire another practitioner.
Oh my gosh.
And we were doing good, but I think just constantly looking at the numbers, and looking at the metrics, like you cannot run a business and expect to be successful if all you're doing is like once a year when it's tax time, you're like, okay, let's see where we're at with our profit and loss. You need to be looking at that on a monthly basis. You need to be actually looking at metrics that you want to improve. I think, for me, the second kind of really aha moment from a financial standpoint was when we did your program. Like when we sat down for those, was it 2-day workshop, 3-day workshop?
It was more like 3, but it feels like 9. I know, but
it is.
But, it was long. I mean,
those principles of, I think one, hey, are you putting 10% of your profit revenue in a place that is benefiting your household, right? So that was an aha moment, because like up to that point, we were, putting money back into the practice. We were putting money into kind of a, rainy day fund. All of that's good and important. But it was that, we should be putting 10% of what we're making towards our own benefit and long-term protection. That was, I think, kind of another aha moment for me from a financial standpoint, in saying, okay, we need to continue to work smarter and not harder.
Yeah, that is for sure. I think most of the people, when we first, present that concept, they do have the same, like, it's either two things. The one that you just had, which is like, I deserve to have this, because a lot of people, especially in healthcare, are like, well, I don't deserve to have a lot of money for whatever reason. I don't know where they got that from, but they certainly do. And then they're just afraid to take money out of the business because they feel like they're doing something wrong, like they're enriching themselves and they're doing harm to the practice, which could be further from the truth. But I'm really glad that concept kind of resonated with you. And it's like, I mean, you do it after a while, it just becomes like another bill that you got to pay, and
it totally does. When you budget for it, then you make enough money to meet your budget needs because you're trying to compensate for it. Now, has that always worked out?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It's not easy.
particularly we're in the insurance-based business. And so things change sometimes quickly in terms of how payers want to reimburse us. We are just now adding a membership program to our practice because we looked at our reimbursements. Insurance is paying us the same amount that we had when we started 11 years ago.
That's a nuts.
So we're getting the same reimbursement for the same work we did 11 years ago.
I mean, geez, nothing's happened in 11 years, like prices haven't went up, 45, 50% in 11 years or whatever it is. I mean, it's disgraceful how they do that. And, yeah, I'm preaching to the choir. So how do you fight that, man? Like, what do you do to overcome that? Because I mean, we had a lot of physical therapists that obviously are reimbursed, and they're constantly like, I can't keep up. Salary wages are going up and our reimbursements are staying the same. Like, what are some things you can do on that?
Yeah. So I think, we're still learning. We came in contact with a company that actually helps renegotiate contracts. And so they're going to go in before the end of the year and renegotiate all our contracts for 2026.
Oh, wow.
And, and they will take 30% of what we make that first year, right? So let's say we're getting $100 for a visit and they get us now $130, right? So they'll take $10 out of that $30 that we increased the price, but just for that first year. So we're still going to make $20 more than we did this past year. And then in the next year, we'll make the full $30, right? But so I think there's companies out there that can help with that. Like I mentioned, the membership program, I think will really help getting back to that 10%, right? Because we've had to put that on hold because when you're breaking even, well, you're just breaking even. You're covering your expenses. There isn't. But because that was our philosophy, that's what our target was. We didn't say, okay, we're okay with just breaking even. We're like, no, we need to get our 10% back, right? So we need to be able to get to the point where we're managing ourselves as well as our business.